Welcome everyone to TechCon interview with Ramses Alcaide. Ramses is an electrical engineer and neuroscientist and the CEO of Neurable. Earlier in his career, he served as CEO of Pharo, where he managed health projects for universities and other clients. As a researcher, he developed the brain-computer interfaces and signal processing pipelines. At Neurable, he's focused on making the brain-computer interfaces on everyday devices. Super excited to have you here with me today. And the first question is, for people who may not know the space well yet, what core problem are you trying to solve by making the brain-computer interfaces part of everyday devices? And just for those who don't know, these are, I think they're earpieces mainly.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
over
And
to
I'll
you, sir.
I'll cover all that for sure, for sure. Yeah. So traditionally, brain computer interfaces are like these crazy, goopy systems with sensors everywhere. And they have a ton of incredible use cases from tracking epilepsy to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and then even everyday use cases like tracking focus, attention, helping you understand your sleep. But it's really hard to make them work into everyday devices. And so what our company does is we work to boost the signal of the brain data so we can bring it to devices like this as a pair of noise canceling headphones. Our company's Neurable. We don't build the product, but we actually license our technology to these types of companies. On the inside are some fabric sensors that record your brain activity. And then we use that to help you understand when you're burning out, when to take a break. I normally use them all the time. And yeah, I mean, these are just a great pair of noise canceling headphones that also track your brain health.
Fabric senses. What about the earpieces, like the AirPods equivalent? How are they doing it? Something
Yeah, I
similar
mean,
to
we
you?
have we support all form factors, including on the defense side, we have helmets as well, you know, um, and we do work with some earbud-based companies. Those products aren't on the market yet, but very soon you're going to start to see a lot of these kinds of devices, just like you have like a Whoop or a Fitbit, but this would be like a brain Fitbit or a brain Whoop.
Okay, interesting. I could go deeper into how that is working, but next question. So you guys have raised 35 million recently to accelerate the development, bringing total funding to 65. What has changed in the market or in the tech that makes this the right moment to scale this vision?
Really, the key thing is that we're starting to see brain computer interfaces finally hit their area where the signal to noise or the ability to read the signal compared to all the noise in the background is high enough due to AI that they can actually be integrated into everyday devices. And so, we just announced, for example, our latest partnership with HP. You can imagine very soon you're going to start to see gaming headphones go out into the market that have brain sensing technology. That just never was a thing that people even thought was possible in the last few years. So the market timing is really ideal for this type of technology to scale.
And just going off the script a bit, but could you give our viewers an idea of what this is allowing people to be able to do with the brain
Yeah.
computer interface?
So for these devices here, this is actually the consumer headset. It allows you to track your focus while you're working, and it'll play an audible tone when you're burning out that you should take a break. And it gives you about 1 to 3 hours back of productivity per day just through that process. Second is it can track your focus in real time. So when you start getting distracted, it'll play a small tone to remind you to get back to task. This is really good for individuals like me. I have ADHD. Sometimes I'll read a book, and then I'll like lose focus and I realize I haven't read anything until I hit the bottom of the page, right? Like,
Oh,
has that
oh,
ever
oh
happened to you,
man.
right?
Yeah, yeah. I can go through, I think, minutes of Audible and realize, oh God, I have tuned out. So okay,
Exactly.
that'll be
So
interesting.
it's instead of hitting the bottom of the page and realizing you haven't read anything, after a few words, it'll just play the small tone. You're like, oh yeah, that's right. I was reading this page. And you're able to get back to it and not lose your place. So like those are ways that I use it. And then it also has a brain health function where it tracks things like your cognitive load, the strain. It also tracks things like the age of your brain. So you can essentially be able to see how things impact, like how poor sleep impacted it, how drinking alcohol, how these things impact your brain.
So you're going to come up with a term for this because I know the idea of a metabolic age,
Mhm.
and then which is I'm assuming is going to be very different from the brain age.
It's your brain age. Yeah, exactly. And different parts of your body age differently, right? And
Really?
so, and yeah, and I think that the future of longevity is managing the baseline changes of your body. And the only way to do that easily is through wearable technology.
Interesting. There's a lot of excitement around emerging neurotech today. What are you seeing the most hype around that isn't really delivering value?
I think that really the biggest hype that isn't fully delivering yet is invasive. And
Okay.
it's understandable. Invasive brain computer interfaces are very, very difficult. They require surgery. There's all this work that needs to be done. I think it's very easy to hype what the future of invasive can be, like controlling cars and doing all this other stuff. But like we're just so far away from that. Like if we could just help somebody with ALS communicate consistently without having to go get a new surgery in their brain every year, like that would be a major win. And like that shows you the difference between where we're at versus what people hype.
Okay. Thank you for that clarity. You worked across research and company leadership while building brain-computer interface tech. What is the one decision that made the biggest difference in your organization's progress recently?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was this book called Five Dysfunctions of a Team. It's all about how teams need to communicate in a way that enables trust to be built, and specifically something called vulnerability-based trust, where you're able to say like, "Hey, I don't know that," or "I need help with this," right? And there's this great quote by Patrick Lencioni where he basically said it's not technology, it's not finance, it's team that remains the ultimate competitive advantage, both because it is so difficult and so rare, right? And like I truly believe that.
It's very interesting you say that. I truly believe that too. In fact, we have a litmus test, and the litmus test is everyone should wake up in the morning looking forward to working with the people they work with. And if
Yeah,
that breaks, then something is wrong and you ain't hitting the ball out of the park.
agreed.
But interesting to see that coming from you, given obviously all the brains and computer interface tech. You worked both as a neuroscientist and an engineer building brain-computer interfaces. How did that combination shape the way you approach building Neurable? Um,
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's been like one organic journey, right? When I was about 8 years old, my uncle got into a trucking accident and he lost both his
I'm so
legs.
sorry.
Yeah, it was a tough time, but it's what motivated me toward getting into neurotechnology to begin with. I started out in electrical engineering, focused on prosthetic limbs that could be controlled by the brain. And when I
Ah,
realized
okay.
that the brain was missing in that loop, that's when I did my PhD in neuroscience, right? And that's where I got this bigger kind of awakening where I saw people with ALS who couldn't even communicate with their eyes. I saw people with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's that didn't even know that they had these diseases until 10 years in, right? And so really it has been this journey, this epic was what I call it, of like of all this technology and work coming together that has enabled Neurable to exist. And for the mission to actually be something that is coming to fruition.
Ramsey's last question for the day. What is the one fun fact about you that isn't on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I'd say the funnest thing about me that's not on LinkedIn is that I love to play strategy games. And so whether that's chess to Pokemon cards to, you know, just sitting down and whiteboarding a strategy for the company. That I got to tell you is like my favorite thing in the world. Like I could spend my entire life doing that. I should have been a consultant I'm glad I'm not because now AI is taking all their jobs, but essentially that probably would have been my like life's work right there if it wasn't for this other mission I'm on. Pleasure to meet
Thank you,
you
sir.
and
Likewise. And keep doing the
looking
good
forward to
work,
staying in touch.
man. Very
Thank you.
inspiring. I'd
Thank
love
you.
to see people being able to do things given the tech, the ultimate vision. Take care.
Appreciate it. Take care,
Bye-bye.
my friend. Bye.